We'll keep following all of the happenings in the House and bring you some updates. But it's time now to look forward to that major electoral exercise happening in the next 24 hours, as the Electoral Commission has excluded the use of indelible ink in the future elections that may be happening, starting with the district level elections. Indelible ink, I should say, a permanent dye applied to voters' fingerprints during elections to prevent fraud, will no longer be used. Addressing the press before tomorrow's exercise, EC boss Jean Mensa stated confidently that they have a robust system to identify any attempts at voter fraud through double voting. She asserts that the biometric verification machines can actually flag such illegalities.
Secondly, the issue of indelible ink. The question is, when we were not doing biometric, we were basically using your face, your card, and to look at you. We look at your face and we say, this picture looks like you. The biometric technology makes it difficult for a person who has been verified and cast their vote to come a second time. So there is no need for indelible ink, because once you have been verified, it goes into the system and you cannot come back a second time. So you can try it if you wish at this election. Of course, it will be an electoral offense. It will be deemed as an electoral offense. But because of biometric technology, your facial features are recognized or your fingerprints is recognized and verified, you cannot go a second time. And you can try it, as I said, if you wish. And therefore, there's no need for indelible ink, which had been in place since 2012, since the beginning of 2012, when we were not using biometric. This is not something that you want to continue to do for the sake of it. You have biometric technology, and therefore, you've departed from the system where you look at the picture and you can go anywhere else. And for now, you cannot have more than one card. Before, you could have multiple cards because the technology was not biometric. But now, anybody who attempts to do multiple registrations is flagged out. In the same way, if you are verified, the system recognizes that you have been verified and you cannot go more than once. You'll be picked up. So that is the reason why the Commission took the decision to do away with the indelible ink. I hope I've answered your questions. Thank you.
All right, the Opposition National Democratic Congress is raising some concerns with this process. Joining us now is Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Akbande, who's now with us. And of course, you've heard the explanation coming through from the EC chairperson, the fact that there is now technology to check the issue of double voting. That should suffice, isn't it?
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hi, Mustafa.
Yes, so the EC have made this proposition, and I believe that it is for political parties to examine, interrogate that proposition as against prevailing electoral fraud activities that we have experienced over the years. And so for us in the NDC, our directorate, headed by Honorable Dr. Omanibuama, is busy interrogating this proposition. And the assembly election, of course, will be a test case for these propositions. Again, the proposition lacks consultation with political parties. And I've always said that the Electoral Commissioner must understand that it is in her own interest as a commissioner and with the commission to have consensus building with political parties in order to avoid unnecessary suspicion.
And the argument is always made when you raise that point that the NDC for some time has not been a member of the IPAC. You chose to leave the forum. Now you're coming back. At least you have another opportunity at making a statement, isn't it?
We left an IPAC that in its form and shape was like a parliamentary forum. But I dare say that not all decisions that got majority in a vote that ensures transparency, credibility, free and fair elections. Consensus building, as stated by my national chairman, has the highest propensity to reduce suspicion and to ensure transparency. Now, Jean Mensa have turned her commission into a parliament where if she make a proposition and you disagree, she goes to put in a vote, and then MPP, of course, in government will go and convince other minority political parties to side by it. But the election is going to be run by two major political parties.
That's basically by your assertion, isn't it? This is a multi-party democracy guaranteed by the Constitution of the Republic. The NDC should not feel entitled, should it?
The NDC is very much entitled, very much interested in activities of the commission that undermines transparency, that undermines the principle of free and fair elections. When you have an electoral commissioner who takes decisions without consulting, without carrying her stakeholders along, that is what undermines the Constitution than any other person. Jean Mensa is not the owner of the commission. The commission is a constitutional body that has rules. And over the years, IPAC has been a consensus building machinery of the Electoral Commission to get all political parties on board its decisions. Jean Mensa have acted differently. Well, we'll see, because the NDC have made a caveat that Peace Council should go and discuss with the commission that we will come back to IPAC, not a debate forum. Now, dealing with issues of indelible mark, I am not too sure that the verification machines she's talking about, knowing very well that in several elections, machines have broken down and we had to rely on manual verification, this proposition is enough to ensure that there will not be multiple voting. So we will see. Mind you, we are going to have a bit of apathy because of people's disinterested in election due to government's corruption. So a lot of people will not turn out. So if there are multiple voting, if you are not vigilant, you may not detect. And the system proposed by Electoral Commission for any election should be strong enough to be able to detect the slightest of fraud. All fraud in election are fraud. There's no big and there's no small. And I doubt if this her proposition will solve the issue.
Okay, more political parties have been reacting to this. I just want you to hold on for us briefly. We'll get that tape for you later on. But I just want us to address the issue about technology, which she talks about, which I wanted to bring to your attention. Is it the case that the NDC does not believe in the power of technology? There are reforms coming up ahead of the elections, the introduction of the Ghana card, for instance, a unique ID dealing with biometric details. It's not easy to bypass the system like before in the past, 2016 and the other elections.
You have spoken about Ghana card. The NDC is not in competition with the government of Ghana. When it comes to issues of technology, the NDC is more advanced in technology than the MPP. But where is the use of technology when the requisite structures to be put in place are not there? You are aware that during registration, Electoral Commission's machines get malfunction, slow network problems. These are visible challenges that we have encountered during registrations and during voting. Does that not vitiate the existence of technology? If the Electoral Commissioner over the years cannot address the issue of slow network, and the issue of machine breakdown, she is making these propositions knowing very well that most of the times when it has to do with election, the whole problem of late starting of voting, breakdown of machines, late delivery of election materials are all the faults of Electoral Commission, not political parties. We are to get our members to go and queue and vote. The Electoral Commission has not even been able to assemble proper policing at voting centers. So you see violence year upon years. People
Well, we might have just lost Mustafa Gbande there, who's the Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, pointing out his concerns. And sorry, sir, I lost you briefly when you were just about landing on that point. But moving forward, you now have another opportunity, even after the district level elections, to engage the Electoral Commission. Are you headed towards that, line of action, engaging the commissioner and telling her about your concerns?
Is that Jean Mensa, and permit my words, is not willing to leave a legacy at the commission. If I were her, knowing very well the volatility and the interest that are at stake in 2024, I would want to bring along stakeholders instead of stakeholders lobbying her. The NDC will not lobby her. We simply want Jimesa to understand that she's running a commission. The commission requires credibility. The commission requires some level of stakeholder commitment, and that she should be in the position of engaging stakeholders to listen to their part. We are going for the election with the MPP. We don't have a problem sitting with the MPP to judge and to come to a consensus about the best practices of our election. Why is the commissioner so interested in taking entrenched positions and unwilling to engage with stakeholders?
Yeah, but if you look at the constitutional provisions, she's not, excuse my language, subject to the control of anybody, including the political parties. The law is clear on that. And we've seen previous commissioners state that clearly, what the position of the law is.
The position of the law is guided by wisdom. You cannot execute the position of the law ignorantly without being guided by wisdom. And I'm saying that over the years, people who have experience in election matters will tell you that both political parties have always sat in a meeting with the commission to decide to take consensus on reforms that will ensure transparent, free and fair election. Look, let me just tell you that the NDC will not stand down on its demands for transparency, free and fair election. Anything on the contrary has the tendency to spark a national insecurity. And I can assure you that if
an indelible mark questions the integrity of an exercise simply because you have not dipped your hand into, some indelible ink. You feel that alone will question the integrity of the process?
That alone does not ensure enough security-proof election system, because we have technology in place. Bravo, but the technology keeps shutting down because of network problems. She is aware of that. If she doesn't know, it means she has not been going to voting centers. And of course, she's not on top of her job. If she has information about election, she will know that the biggest challenge of this technology on voting has been network challenges and malfunctioning of machines. She should know that. And beyond that, whenever that one happens, the law suggests that we rely or we switch to a manual verification process. In that manual verification, one of the key security ingredients to ensure that there is no double voting is to dip your hand in something that will identify that you have already voted. We have done this over the years, and it has helped the system.
If we have all political parties except the NDC supporting this decision,
now you have to take a consideration.
Yeah, I was just asking the question that. Hello,
again, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Gbande, I was just asking the question that if we have a situation where all of the political parties go ahead to support the decision of the EC, IPAC, and the NDC is the only political party left, what will be your next option? Mr. Gbande? Okay, we'll definitely have this conversation some other time, but of course concerns already emerging from the quarters of the National Democratic Congress on this matter. Of course, you're with us here on the Pulse on the Joy News channel. Let's try one more time to see if my question can go through to Mustafa Gbande. And Mustafa, I was just asking, about wrapping up this conversation on, the other political parties and stakeholders involved in this. If we have all other political parties backing this decision of the Electoral Commission, leaving the NDC standing alone, what will be your options? What will be the next line of action?
Well, that's why I'm saying that even at a forum where all political parties minus the NDC agreed on decentralization of registration, Jim Mensah dishonestly did the contrary. And so the NDC's presence will not make any difference. But what I'm saying to land is that if all political parties, by the time we engage and agree that this is the way to go, the NDC will not go behind that decision. Suspicion would have been minimized. She would have provided answers. I just ask you, in cases where machines are broken down, in cases where there are network challenges, and we have to resort to manual verification, how will you ensure that there is no multiple voting? She's not here to answer that question. This is a critical question that undermines and makes nonsense of her proposition. That her proposition has not made provision for situations where network challenges occur and when her machines break down. These are the issues that can be addressed in a forum where consensus building is needed.
Yeah,
it's simple.
Yeah, it's that simple, and we'll wait for that engagement to happen just to see what the outcome will be. Grateful for your time. Mustafa Gbande, Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, and we're taking a break here on The Pulse. When we get back, we'll talk about 10 more matters, including the latest in our series of the schools of shame. We'll talk about that shortly. Please stay.